computer. Okay, I forgot to check the charts. Now, I'm working on my Galaxy Tab, which is an Android device. And for those of you who've got an iPhone or an iPad, you actually get more features on the i than
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's fine.
Android. And there's a number of
No,
technical.
no, just salt and pepper.
And somebody worried about salt and pepper, please mute.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Okay.
Apologies, that was my lunch.
No, that's okay. We forget, and the rest of the family don't seem to pay much attention. Okay, on the Android device, we've got the option of viewing two charts or one charts. On the iOS, you've got the option of viewing three charts, but I'm going to be focused on Android today. And I'm going to start by showing you one chart. And what I've got to remember to do is tap the Galaxy Pad, not try and tap it on the computer in front of me. So if you see me do something and nothing happens, that's what's happening. Now, on the Android tablet, it operates slightly different to the phone. And the major thing is that the menu might be in a different place, and sometimes it's a slightly different, but the function is exactly the same. I like to, let me see, I've got that in the way. Don't want you. And that's my, here we are. I've got my Windows toolbar down the bottom, and then I've got my Galaxy toolbar, and then I've got the AstroGold toolbar. So it's talk about being multidextrous today. And I've got to keep my eye on the people waiting in the waiting room. First, I'll have some water. Hydrate my brain. So as you can see, your chart looks very similar. We do have different wheel styles, but your chart looks very similar to what you see on your Mac. There are more things around on the Mac. But the operation, some of it's very much the same, some of it's not. I'm going to start by tapping on my settings button up the top here and tap on settings. I always like to show people how to get their app to be how they want it to be first. Then we can go into making charts and saving charts and things like that. So this will look very familiar to anybody who's using one of the phone apps. It's a little different to what you use on Mac, but the functions are the same. So I'm going to tap on displayed chart points. And here's where we tap on the points we want to display on our chart. Now, on the phone apps, we don't have asteroids apart from the major ones that we've been dealing with forever. We do have the part of fortune, the ascendant, the midheaven, the north and south node, and the basic planets that we always use. The ones with a tick are the ones that are selected. The ones without a tick aren't selected. So when I'm finished with that, I tap back on the settings, tap too far, and now we can see the aspected chart points. Now I have all chart points selected for aspected because they'll only be aspected if they are also a displayed point. So you don't have to keep going in and changing what you want and what you don't want. Well, I'm telling fibs because I haven't got the ascendant and the part of fortune, etc. selected, but I do have all the rest. So now we're going to look at the actual aspects themselves. Now we have a number of aspect sets and we can edit these, but a word of warning. Some of them are very specialty sets, and if you change the orbs, you break the set. So Huber is one like that, and it works on very specific calculations. So if you go in and change the sets on that, you will lose some of your aspects. If you want to edit something, I suggest you edit the standard ones because that's easy and it's very standard and it doesn't break anything when you mess with it. So if you do change some of the sets and you find you're not picking up all your aspects, that's probably what has happened. Now, if we want to edit the set, we tap up here on edit, and that opens more options. And then we tap on the one that we want to edit. The ones that are selected will show on, and then they'll show orbs underneath. The ones that are turned off will just be looking like that. and you'll see that it's not selected and it's not there. Now, to edit the orb, you come back to what you want to edit. Let's say we want to change the conjunction. We tap on whichever one we want to change, and you might want to tighten up your luminaries, and you can move that by sliding this slider along here. I'm tapping it with my finger on the tablet. Now, I haven't changed anything there, but that doesn't matter. So now we go, what's that? There's something popping up on my screen. I've got no idea what it is, something that the system's doing. We can also change our wheel displays. So we can change, we've got a number of sets for planetary colors, and we've got a number of options for sign colors, and you can choose different sets. You can't edit the sets, but you can choose a different set. And on the Android, the back button works, the usual back button that you use for everything. I think that's a recent innovation, because it used to really bother me that we didn't have the back button. It was operating more like the iPhone, where you have to do different things to get in and out. So I really like that my regular back button down here for the device actually does work now. Looking at uni wheel, we've got a number of wheel styles, and I'm using for a single wheel, I'm using Euro 1. What have I done there? Okay, uni wheel. It's showing me Euro. Oh, don't mind me. I think my brain's not active this morning. The style of wheels we have are AstroGold 1, which is the standard default, AstroGold R, which will show you the retrograde symbol. AstroGold WH1 will show you the degrees in red rather than the R symbol. This is to give you a bit more room on your device and not take up extra space you don't need. Using the red numbers works quite well once you're used to it, but some people still prefer the R. We've also got a Euro wheel. We've got a French wheel. We've got a uni wheel, which is different again, a uni one rather than an AstroGold one. That one shows you the retrograde, and uni 2 also shows you the retrograde. I didn't show you the first one, so that's the AstroGold 1, and it has red numbers for retrograde. So see here, you've got red degree numbers. They're retrogrades. That's retrograde. There's a lot of retrogrades there in that chart. Back in September 25. So I play around with them. And there's the AstroGold R, which shows you the retrograde on the plane. French, I think that's what I was using. Oh, I don't like that. Let's go back to uni 1. That's a bit bland, isn't it? I'll find what I was using later on. Then we've got a bi-wheel style. And to show you what that looks like, we have to have 2 charts open. So I'll just open another chart. They're both transits, but that doesn't matter. So now I can go back into settings and show you the bi-wheel style. So that's AstroGold Wheel 2. That is AstroGold with the R. And see how we're getting much tighter in the space. Then we've got by Euro, which is a bit different again. Did I tap it properly? Yes. And then we've got by Inter, which will show you the aspects between the wheels. And then we've got by Inner, which will show you the aspects of the inner wheel, not between the wheels. And the transit wheel, yes?
Could you just repeat that? I'm sorry, the one that shows the aspects with the two between the 2 wheels?
Yeah, that's by Inter, by Inter. See here, I went here, this one.
Oh, by inter aspect wheel 2.
In between the 2 wheels, yes.
Right, yes. Okay, see that. Thank you.
So if you just want to see the aspects of the inner wheel, it's that one. And if you switch the wheels, up here you've got a switch button, which will switch the wheels. It'll then swap which wheel is on the inside and the outside.
Okay.
Okay, back to wheel display. I probably was using the transit wheel. And now we've got some background options. We can have the light background or the dark background, and the dark background is good at nighttime. It's a bit easier on your eyes. The light background's better for day. Now, if you're using your device in a portrait mode, you don't get the list of things open. You'll just see your chart. If you're using it in landscape mode, this part will always be there, so you can always see what you're looking at and what you're changing. So, light background. And we have some other options down the bottom. We have proportional houses, which I like. That means that each house looks like the size it is. So if you've got a small house, it looks like a small house. If you've got a bigger house, it looks like a bigger house. Not everybody likes that. I prefer it. I tend to be more visual. Okay, sorry to keep you waiting, Aurelie. I've got to keep an eye on the waiting room while we're talking, and I don't usually, it's not usually set to do that, so the system's made its own decision. Welcome, and we're starting in settings at the moment. We're partway through, so you can catch up on the recording. I've also got the aspect lines turned on and the aspect glyphs turned on. So it depends how, some people like to see them, some people don't. I quite like to see them unless they get too busy. So now we're going back, and on our chart calculations, this is where we select our default zodiac, and we have a number of sidereal systems. On the Android, we don't have the option of draconic. I'm using tropical, but all of these others are sidereal. Using my back button down here to get back out of this one. The house system, we've got a number of options. Planets on the first, and the more regular ones as well. I'm using Placidus, which is just my preferences. So now there's no arrow up here, so I'm using the back arrow on my device. We have the option of true or mean lunar node. And for part of fortune, we have the option of the fixed or the different day-night. We have an option to turn parallax moon on or off. And we have an option for black moon, mean or true. And we have a few options for our solar arc directions. I'm using arc in longitude, but we have right ascension, nibod in longitude, nibod in right ascension, and mean quotoden. And back with the back button again will take me back to chart calcs, and I finished there, so I'm going to go back to the main settings. To set your home location, tap the button here, just type in where you are, and the easiest way is to tap in the button, enter your country, tap in the place and enter it, and then when you tap into the latitude, it will auto look up. So I'll just show you, I'll just change so that we can see it actually happening. Let's look at Darwin, because I don't think I've used Darwin before. And I want one that's not going to automatically go. I want one that's going to look up. So now I've entered my place. I'm going to tap in the latitude box or hit the next button down here. But either way, we'll update. Once it's auto looked up, it will turn green. Okay, now I want to get rid of, got rid of too much. Let's go back into settings. These things don't work well with fat fingers, do they? So that's your home location. That's now set. Back button will take me now. We can export our chart files, and once you've exported your chart files, you can import them into any of your devices that have AstroGold or Solar Fire. I think that probably works with Jigsaw as well, because you can import even more chart styles into Jigsaw. So exporting chart file will take me to my chart file list. I just tap what I want to export. Tap send here, I've tapped down here. And now I tap send up the top and it will open the options for sharing. So if I want to email it, for me, I'll click on Outlook and it will open an email, if I tap it hard enough, with my chart file attached. So I email it to myself, and then on the other device that has the file, that has the program, I save the file to my chart file location. Okay, I don't need to do that today, so that will take us far enough. Now we go back to the settings, and if we want to import chart files, if I have exported chart files by email from any of my devices, then I come back to import. It's wanting to find where it is. So when it comes back to me as an email, I tap on the email and save the files, save the attached files, and then they will install into AstroGold. And you may get the option to say, oh, you've already got a chart file with this name. Do you want to rename it, or do you want to overwrite it, or do you want to merge it? So sometimes it's safer just to say rename one and keep them both. But that sort of thing is very much preference. Just let me check that waiting room again. So that's your settings to make your app how you want it to be. And I think that's very important. Now I'm going to go back to one chart, and I'm going to, up the top here, we've got the report button, a refresh button, a calendar button, and a grid button. So we can see a chart, and you'll see now I've tapped the grid, it's changed to a chart wheel. If I want to see the wheel, I tap the chart wheel. Refresh button will give me the current date and time right here and now. And because I just changed my default to Darwin, that's where it's taken me. Now, don't be concerned if you open a chart and it's got the wrong place, because the app will open with the last chart you used. So if I need to change that back to my home location, going back into settings, back into home location, and now I'm going to change that to Brisbane. And tap next. And there we are, we've updated. Now I'll get rid of the keyboard, and you'll see my home is now here, but it's still using the same chart. So if I go to make a new here and now chart, because it's remembering the last ones, I do have to enter Brisbane here. So don't be concerned and think it's not doing the right thing. It's just doing what you had last. And anytime you need an option for where your location's going to be, your home location will be what you've set as your home location. Okay, so I'm going to go back and start that from scratch. Okay, we've done that, that's done. When you're making a chart, you must tick on the tick for it to generate the chart, and then that'll take you back to your window. Oh, there it is. I tried to tap on that before and it wasn't there. It must have been in another window. You'll see up here. Yes, there it is. You'll see up here a little drawer. That is your chart drawer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're working in portrait, that pops up when you're using it. If you're working in landscape, it is there all the time. So to make a new chart.
And where do you change the landscape and portrait, by the way?
Turn your device around.
Oh, it's at all.
Yep. Just like anything you do when you're on your phone. You know, if you're looking at pictures and you turn it around, you have to have your device set to allow it to rotate the screen. Otherwise, it won't happen.
Right. All right.
Okay. So we've covered settings, and now we're going to actually create and use charts. Just let me check the waiting room. No, we're good. Okay, so you'll see we've got a right arrow here, and that lets you do all sorts of things. So if I tap on that, there are my options. So I can make a current chart here and now, and that'll be right now. I can edit a chart. Now, it's not showing you what I'm tapping, so I'll just go back and see if I can show you. So here I'm tapping edit chart. And then I've got the option to change what I'm doing. We go back. We can make a new natal chart by tapping here, and that will give you a blank box. Not exactly blank, it'll give you the last chart you created. So let's make a chart for Mary. And I find the easiest way is just to tap into the next box. You can use the next on your keypad, but I find it easy just to tap in the box. Now, when I tap there, it's already highlighted. So all I have to do is start typing 4725, and that's the 4th of July, 2025, because I'm using Australian format for numbers. If you're in America, you'll read that as the 7th of April. Fortunately, the device puts in the month, so we avoid that confusion. Typing in the time, we can go right down to seconds if we want to, and we don't have to be fussy with how you enter. A full stop will do it. And if I just left it at 8:42, it would assume that it's AM. If I want to go to the US, I enter the state, not the country. Anywhere else in the world, I enter the country. So let's go to the USA. Sorry, wrong. I'm doing the wrong thing. Let's go to Texas today. And it helps if you hit the character, not the space bar. And then we're going down to Austin will do. Okay, so now we've entered our places. I'm going to get rid of that keypad. I think I'm going to get rid of it. So if I go into I'll use the next button to get there this time. So when I tap next, it auto looked up. That's the thing with these devices. The keypad takes up so much of the space. When I go next again, it's automatically looked up. It's finding everything I need to do. Now, it is important that you tap unspecified and set the type of chart that you are creating. If you're doing a chart for a person or a business or an entity, it needs to be either male, female, or natal. That way you will get normal orbs. If you use event or horary, you will get transit orbs. And in the devices, they're hardwired at 1 degree. So let's make this, we'll let Mary be a female today. And now all our numbers are checked. You can enter specific places. You can manually enter coordinates. I'm not sure that they actually turn green because the atlas can't look them up automatically. When we've done our data, we must tick the arrow for it to actually generate the chart. Now, if you're working on the iPad, you tap go. For the Android, it's tap the arrow. Okay, there's our new natal chart. Now, if I want to save the chart, I tap the save button and it will default to the last chart file that I had open, which was my charts. So tap that and then tap save to file. Up here, tap save. And now the chart is saved and it tells me it's saved. Now, one thing that you can do with this is look at the last 10 recently used chart files. I'm going to shut that because there's some personal stuff on there. I've gone too far. It will open the chart file that you used most recently. So I'm going to tip a public file just to show you what's happening there. And we come back, and when the chart is saved, it will say that it's saved when you go back to your chart. So there is saved. I got a bit out of sync there with opening up personal files, and I've done it again. If we want to select a chart from the chart files, that's going to show anyway. What I was getting to is that we can see the last 10 chart files we had open. So you can you can make 10 chart files and that's fine. After you make 10 chart files, unless you save them, they will be lost and you won't be able to recover them without redoing them. So just bear that in mind if you're doing something that uses a lot of charts. Now, the other option,
Rhonda, can
yeah,
I ask a question?
yeah.
How do you make a new file to save charts to?
Okay, we can do that now. So we've got Mary's chart open. I'm going to tap on the side button here, and I'm going to select from file, and it's gone to, I need to go back. Up here, when I've got into my chart files, I'll explain that a bit better because I just went through it and did it without telling you all the steps along the way. So we're here, we're going to save the chart file. And if I want to save it again, I can, and it'll say it's saved, but where do you want to save it? So if I want to save it someplace else, I select the file, and then over here, I'm clicking the back button because it's gone straight to my charts. It's gone to the last chart file I had open. So
Yeah.
now going back to my chart database, and you'll see I've got different options at the top. Up here, I click edit, and now I've got the option to create a new chart file, to delete chart file. Sorry?
I didn't see where the edit was.
Up the top here in your bar. Let me go back.
Oh,
Whoops, I've gone too far. Okay, so we tapped on here, and then we went select from file over here.
yeah.
Then I have to go back because it's in the My Chart file. It's not in the chart database. Now I'm looking at all my files, and here I've got the edit button over here on the right.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. I
Okay,
see.
now, if you're working on a different device, your
Yeah.
menus might look a little bit different. And I think on the phone, they're on the bottom, sometimes bottom, sometimes top. So just look around the options.
Okay.
Might do it.
Yeah.
So now I want to tap edit up here. And now down here, I'm going to create a new chart
Yeah.
file. And I'll call it Sunday because it's Sunday here. And I can give it a description here. And it's just a class file.
Okay. Thank you.
It's starting to talk German. Maybe I just tapped badly. And then up here, we tap save. And now we've got a new chart file. And when I'm done, there's Sunday. When I'm done, I click the tick. And now I've got my new chart file.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
if you find you open up and all you've got is one chart file, that means it's taken you already to the last chart file you used. If you want to go back to charts, you go back here. Now on the Android, all my charts are saved in the Android device. So if I want to back up my charts, I have to go back to where we were in settings and export chart files. And I'll go tap, 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 and tap them all because I want them all to be backed up. And then I'll do, now I'm repeating here, just so you're getting a refresher of it. Send opens an email. I can send it any way I want, but I choose to send it by Outlook, by email. I address it to myself. And, that's me. So there's my chart files attached. And then I click send and send the email. And then that will come to me and I can download it onto my desktop. I can download it from my desktop onto a USB stick, which is the safest way to save your backups because computers fail, devices fail, things get lost. And the computers always think they know better than anybody else and often do things that aren't exactly what you want them to do. Okay, so that's done. And I come out of there because I've already done it and that's all good. Now, do we have any questions so far? Am I making sense?
Yes, that's fantastic, Rhonda.
Okay.
Just a question about daylight saving.
Daylight saving should auto update and the files have recently been updated. If you're using the most recent version, and in settings again, up here in settings, in info, you'll see the last version, and it's 252, which is the latest Atlas update.
Okay, so how often do you need to update?
Every time there's an update, you need to update.
And
Daylight saving times are political decisions, and sometimes they change as often as you change your underwear. So it's really hard to predict a long time into the future who's going to do what, when, and where with daylight saving. So it's a good idea to keep your device up to date so that you've got the latest Atlas for
okay, thank you. So do
Okay.
we get notified every time that there's an update due?
That depends. The phone apps are handled exclusively through the phone app companies like Apple and Google. We don't have any access to their data. We have no idea who has purchased the apps, unlike the Mac, because that comes through our own system, and the solar writers and all of the other things, they come through our own system. So we know who's got what. So it's very difficult. We do send out a newsletter, but if you're not on the database, you're not going to get it. The only way we collect your data to be able to contact you is if you use the email us, and you might just click that and say, I've got no problems. I'd just like to be on your email database. But anytime you come in through support, we save that so we know who we need to notify when things are happening. Better if your apps are set to auto update, they will update automatically. If they're not, and you want to check it, just go to your Play Store for Android or your App Store for Apple, search for AstroGold, and if it's already up to date, it will give you the option to open. If it's not up to date, it will give you the option to update. Now, I have my thing set to auto update, but they do say, do you want to update? So I can turn it off if I don't want to. But for my astrology apps, I certainly want them to stay updated. Okay. Now, while we're here,
Rhonda,
yeah.
can I ask you a question on if I'm getting promotional emails from you and or Stephanie, can I assume that I am in the database and
That
on the
depends. If
email?
you might be getting, you might not specifically get phone apps, you might get everything. Steffi particularly separates her databases, so she's only sending the right information to the right people. We don't want to bother people with stuff that's irrelevant, because then they get cross and unsubscribe, and then they miss out on important things that are happening. So just for security, not security, but for extra caution, to just make sure you're on it, you can send an email and say, please add me to your whichever database. So if you want specifically Android or specifically iOS, and then that will be added. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
If you get emails about Android, or if you get emails about iOS, or not so much Mac, because that will happen anyway, but if you're getting emails about the phone apps, you will be on that database. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, this is a link to the Facebook support group, and this is a link to the Getting Started guide for AstroGold. And of course, the help here will help you with other things. Going back again. Now, also I'll go back so you can see exactly where I am. From the chart, I'm clicking on the right arrow here. And now we've got an option for subsidiary charts. So we can have current transits for the natal location. We can have, I'll go back to Mary's chart. We can have secondary progressions, and you just tell it where and when. Now here is where you say, this is where you'll really notice if your home location has been set. So we've got, this is using the natal. If I don't want to use the natal, I tap off, and now it's gone to my default location. But by tapping the arrow, I can set any location that I want to. Okay, going back again, we can now do solar arc directions.
Okay, Rhonda, I
Yeah.
can't seem to find this on my phone. Like I've gone to one chart, I've gone
Yep.
to view, it's come up. So how do I go to say progressions from
So
there?
are you looking at this window? Is this what your window looks like?
No, mine is a up and down window.
Okay, tap on charts up here.
Tap on
Let me
chart.
turn it around and
Down the
you'll see.
bottom. Yeah, I've tapped on charts. And I just tapped on charts, which is at the bottom of my phone.
That's right. And then that opens your little pop-up sidebar.
Yep, yep. And then?
Then you tap on here on, sorry, I tapped it rather than, I've got to indicate on the computer as well as tap on the screen. So tap the right arrow here
Yes.
and then you tap subsidiary chart
Right, I see it now.
and that's where you've got those. Okay, so I'm going back to landscape because it's a better fit on the screen.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Solar arc directions. Now we set our options for solar arc directions in settings earlier on, and we can use the natal, we can use the default, or we can use anything else. So going back again, we can now do solar return, and you'll get a list of which ones you want. It pops up with the current one, but if you tap the arrow, it'll give you a whole raft of options of which year you want to do your solar return. And I think there's about 100 years solar returns. Yes. Was that a question? No. Okay. And coming back again, we can now do combined charts. But of course, to do combined charts, we have to have two charts available. So we've got Mary, and let's see if we've got Vivian Lee, she'll do it. Now we've got the two charts. I can now tap on the arrow here, and I can select subsidiary again, and now I select combined. And I have the option of the combined midpoint or the Davison chart. And then that's selected for that one. And then we create our chart combined, go. I haven't got my go button. I've lost it. Okay, let's go back again. We've got our two charts. 1, 2. Mary, the natal, that's fine. Tap on the button, tap subsidiary, tap combined. Oh, there it is. Can't see for looking. There's the arrow to tap go. I'm sure that wasn't there a minute ago. That's my story anyway. So now we've got the Mary and Vivian Lee's combined chart. And we can save that. I didn't think we could save combined charts. We can. Okay. So there's the saved chart. Okay. Thanks, Liz. We'll catch you later. Okay. Where to next? Now, we didn't open a chart from file yet. We can, from here, let me go back, right back to the beginning. We go back to our single chart. See how convenient it is to have those recently used charts available just there. If I want to open a new chart, I'll just tap on select from file, and it's opened in the chart file I was using last. So I'm going to go back to look at all the chart files. And now if I want to go to a sport chart, there's Derek Niven, he'll do, and I've opened my chart. Now he's already saved. You can see that that's a saved chart. Now, from here, I'm going to show you how we advance the chart, and this works for any sort of chart you've got. Our time stepper is a really fabulous tool. So first of all, you set what time frame you want. So you can use minutes right through to years. If you're rectifying a chart, you might only want it to be minutes. You might want it to be hours. if you're going to look at what's going to be happening later on, you might want to go to days. And as we tap, it highlights this time, so you can see where I'm tapping, and that's moving my chart forward. And you'll see it's no longer saying his name, it's changed to a transit chart. So we're not interfering with the saved chart, we're looking at the transit chart. Now we do have an option of number, so we can go right up to, I lost it, about 28 days, the 30 days or something on days. On years, you can go looks like 30. My finger gets in the way. So you can, looks like you can do 30 of whatever. So by any denomination. So if you want 2 weeks, you'd be 14 days. And months, you just however many months you want. So forwards and backwards, it'll go backwards by your denomination or forwards by your denomination. And then if you want to go back to your natal chart, just come back here to it. If you want to see the transits around the natal chart, we'll go to 2 charts. The second one we'll call current transits here and now. Now this time, if I advance, the inside natal chart is going to stay static. The outside transit chart is going to advance or regress the way we're doing. And outside here will be your selected transit points. Okay, and obviously I'm using a wheel that doesn't have the aspects showing. But again, as we did that earlier on, I can change my wheel display to the inter, which will show me the aspects between the 2 charts. I don't think the chart wheel's as pretty, but if you want to see all those things, yes, that's what you do. And that one has the red degree numbers for retrogrades. It doesn't have the RX feature. And once again, I can swap the charts up here. So I can put the transit chart on the inside and Derek on the outside, but it will still transit the transit chart. The natal chart will stay static. You know, you can see it's the inner wheel that's moving. Okay. I can set the time and date that I want to go to using the scroll bars. And that's basically pretty much what we're going to be looking at. So do we have any questions about what I've done or anything that I might have missed?
That was excellent, Rhonda. Thank you.
Is that Ricky?
Yeah, I learned quite a few new things, Rhonda. Thank you very much.
Oh, good. I find it, you know, I do encourage people to do these sessions because although they've might have been using things for a long time, they often find that there's so many things that they hadn't looked at. We tend to get on the system, do what we do, and not explore some of the many other things that are available in our sets. Now, the Android is probably the simplest, not probably, the Android is the simplest of the options. The iOS does have more features and will allow you to do 3 charts. I'm an Android girl on the phone, so I use Android myself, but I do have an iPad and I use the iOS on the iPad. And of course, then there's the computers, they've got everything on them. But having the astrology in your pocket, even if you're only doing event charts and now I've got 2 transits, look at that. Even if you're only doing just things that are happening, but as astrologers, something happens, oh, we want to look what's happening in the sky and how it's going on. Or somebody's got a new boyfriend, oh, and we want to know what they're like. Or they want to know what they're like beyond the surface. Now, I find it just so handy, and with this phone, it's much smaller than the iPad. The iPad's not something I carry around in my pocket or my handbag. The phone is always with me, and probably, apart from the calendar, probably the most used app on my phone is probably the astrology one. Now, I've just noticed there's a couple of comments in the chat. Oh, great. I'm glad you found it useful, Christina.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I've just finished doing with you Luke's course,
Yeah,
and I find I use it all the time now. And
yeah.
it's just wonderful. Like, like, is this a good time to get in the car and go for a drive? Oh, Mars is on the ascendant. Maybe not such a good idea. Like, seriously, just little things like that. And of course, Mars is out of bounds at the moment. So, it's a planet and it's my ruling planet. So it's something I'm keeping an eye on.
You
But
have to pay
it,
attention
it,
to it.
it's a great little tool just for you to have a quick flick. Oh, I've just got to wait 5 minutes. Okay, I can wait 5 minutes. Go and water the plants. Like I find it's really good like that. It really helps me to pick the right times in the day for me to do certain things as well, or I should say, avoid the times that are not going to be so great.
Absolutely. And Christina and I have just finished doing Luke Bailey's course on activities of risk. It's to do with horse racing and slot machine paying and gambling and things like that, and looking at when's a good time. And one of the things we do use is the transiting part of fortune. Now, you can't do that in your head.
No.
And you can't see what's happening. So we put it up. You can put it around your own chart, look at what's happening, and pick lucky times. Some of these things with the part of fortune, we're looking at 10-minute windows here, 10-minute on the clock, not 10 minutes of astrology movement, but 10 minutes on the clock. You can't do that without something in your pocket that's handy, unless you sit at home and print off a great long list of everything and then edit it and cross out what you're wanting and what you don't want. So
can you show us what that looks like, Rhonda?
Sorry?
The path of fortune. Can you show us what that looks like?
Yes. We're going back up here to settings. If I've got it turned on, it's turned on. Here we are. There's the part of fortune up there on the chart.
Yeah.
And it is a function of the ascendant and the ascendant and it's a function of maybe the ascendant midheaven or the ascendant the moon. I forget the actual technicalities of it. We did work through that, but it's changing so rapidly. It's even more changeable than the ascendant because it's taking in more than different things. Part of fortune, I think, is the sun or the moon is added or subtracted from the ascendant. And for a night chart, some people use just the fixed, some use the day-night. So as you're advancing the chart, you'll see, let's go back into minutes. You can see, we'll go to one chart because we only need one chart. And as I advance at minutes, you watch how the part of fortune moves. It's over here at the moment in this particular chart. And if I go to a transit chart to here and now and start moving the arrow,
Right,
see how fast it's moving?
Yeah.
And we're looking at a very narrow window. We're not looking at wide orbs. So we're looking at a 10-minute. Now, if you're using day-night part of fortune, you'll get to a point where it jumps across the chart because it's switched to the other formula. In the daytime, it uses the sun and the ascendant. In the nighttime, it uses the moon and the ascendant.
Right, yeah, amazing.
It can be really, and it's really significant. If you watch when the transiting part of fortune is aspecting something in your chart, it gives you a good understanding of the part of fortune.
Okay.
Now, you've all got my contact details on your email. If you need support, if you think there's a problem with your app, you need to go to email us, and that will open up an email with your app settings. And you then send that. It's already addressed. It already says to go to astrogold.io, and there's the data for your device settings, for your app setting, not your whole device, just your AstroGold settings. That gives us a clue to have a look at if there really is something wrong, or most of the time something's been entered or changed and the user's not remembered what they've done with it. Sometimes I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. And as we make changes, you can leave your device in a setting that you're not familiar with. So you can get help, but this is basically for things when you think there's something wrong with your app. We have a lot of support. Let me see if I can find it on this device. I should have got that up beforehand. Let's go to home and see if I've got it on this device. Pictures. I can't even see pictures. Am I going blind or just, oh, here I go. Oh, that's useful. There's nothing there. Recent. Favorites. No, I haven't got them on this device. So I was going to pop up and show you the contact information, but that's not there. You've all got my email. So on the bottom of the email, there's a link to my YouTube videos, and they are arranged in playlist so that you can choose your device. Don't need that anymore. We're done with that. Go away. Done with you. We'll go back to the chart. They're arranged by, there's a playlist for Mac, there's a playlist for Android, there's a playlist for iOS. So you don't have to go trawling through the whole lot of things. And we do pay attention to make a good effort to reflect what's in the video, in the setting, in the name, so that you can pretty easily find what you're wanting. There's also, not so much for the phone apps, but there are videos available on the Kepler College Library that I've done some free things for them and some courses. The free ones are free on YouTube. The courses are purchasable if you want to go through more of what we've done. So thank you for taking the time and the effort to learn a little more about your software. We really do love it when people just want to go a little bit further and find more things that you can do with it than they realize. So don't be afraid to explore the buttons and the settings and make it your own, how you want it to be. And remember, your recently viewed will save 10. After that, they need to be saved or they will vanish. And I've been caught like that myself because when you just do it on the computer, it's not always the same, although it is with AstroGold Mac. It will remember 10, and then you have to save them. So I think you've probably
Rhonda.
heard enough of me today.
So informative. That was so informative, and I really learned something new, and I couldn't live without my AstroGold app.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Ricky.
Yeah,
Rhonda, being such a novice, when you've got an iPhone, which application are you using, iOS or Android?
Mac is on your Mac computer.
Yes, and
iOS is on your iPhone or your iPad.
Oh, I see.
Android is on your Android phone, which would be a Galaxy or a Huawei or a what other brands are there? I'm not sure.
Okay, now we've answered my question. Thank you so much. And it was very interesting.
Well, I'm glad it was useful. I hate wasting people's time, but I really do like helping people get more from their software than they already are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again. It was brilliant.
Great. Well, enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, wherever you are.
And happy Christmas.
Love our international community.
Lovely. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Okay, you too. So astrotech.com.au will find me, and by email it's rhonda@astrotech.com.au. For Mac products, you want to go to astrogold.io, and for the phone apps, you purchase them through your particular device app store. So for Apple, it's the App Store, and for Android, it's the Google Play Store. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Bye-bye, Ricky. Always good to see you.
Thank you again. It was wonderful.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye.